So maybe at this point we should go ahead and start writing the program a little bit together. I don't want to give too much away. I think that this is, at this point, you should probably be able to do a lot of these things. I'm going to go into the 21 tic-tac-toe directory, and I'm going to use new py to create tic-tac-toe.py. I'm going to open that up. And we've already talked about that we're going to take a couple of arguments here, I think 3. One is a board, and we'll just say state of the board. It is a string, and the default is 9 open cells. So I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's fine. Another way to do this would be to, it's a little bit weird, I find, in the Python language, but we can multiply a string by a number. And I always like to just go in and understand that. So if I say the dot times 9, what I get is a string of 9 dots. I can verify that the length of that is 9, and yes, that's fine. So that's going to be our default board. We're also going to allow for let's see, a cell, which is going to be an integer value, just like we have here. So that's going to be let's see, cell. It'd be fine. The default is, let's see, what is the default? I think the default is probably none. I could go look at the solution real quick. Let me just make sure of that. A player and a cell, yes, and the default is none. Oh, I didn't want to give too much away there. I want you to figure out the choices if we can. And then the other thing is a player, which is -p, and I can make that player. I'll just make this to be player. That'll be a string. Let's, yeah, the type is going to be a string. And the default is also going to be, let's say, the empty string will be fine. I guess it could be none. Doesn't really matter. It's just not there. So I believe those are our 3 arguments. And there should be some more validation. You're going to need all the things that we talked about validating the input. I'm going to let you try to figure that out. So down here, if I just want to print, maybe just to get started, I'll print args.board and see what that looks like. If I say tic-tac-toe and I run it, got a problem here. Let's always, so I try not to write too much code. I always want to run my program and see what it does. So here I'm printing the board is the 9 dots, and if I want to put in here something different, then I just verify that yes, I'm getting what I expect here. So let's talk about printing that board, that default board. I'd like you to think about writing a function called maybe called format board is what I suggest. And if you write this function, I'm providing you here a test to test that that if I say format the board with that default value, it's going to look like this. This string is going to be created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the solution. I'm going to grab that test. Let me just go down here. Oh, did I put it in a unit? Oh, I must have put it in a unit. Okay, great. For the moment, let me just, you know what? I'm just going to leave it there because it's going to use my tic-tac-toe and it's going to use format board and find winner, which is perfect. So let me just run pytest. I'll run -xv on unit.py. And what we're going to see is that it blows up. And of course it's going to blow up because we haven't written format board. It says cannot import name format board from tic-tac-toe. So what we need to do is go over here and write a function called format board. I like to take my little divider and put it there. I'm going to say def format board. And it's going to take some sort of a, the board state, whatever that is. It's going to be a string. Format the playing board, something like that. And at the moment, we could just return board. It's not doing anything interesting or even correct, but we're just getting it to the state that, okay, it can't find winner to is going to be another function that unit is trying to import. So if that's going to work, I'm going to go ahead and just put in find winner as well here. Find winner. Given some state of a board, and it's going to just, for now, it's going to just pass. It's going to return nothing. We should change this, determine if there is a winner. All right, let's see if we can get our unit test to pass. So what we have now is an entirely different failure, and that's okay. The unit is now able to import those two functions. So if we look here, the first thing it's trying to do is, from our tic-tac-toe module, import these two functions, format board and find winner. And so if those functions don't exist, then nothing can happen at all. So now with that we've defined these two functions, we need to implement them so that they actually work. So we need to figure out a way to make board, find board, return this when it's given this as the input. And then if you look forward, there's also a secondary test, a second test here, giving a different kind of board, giving something with X's and O's in it. So just it's one of those things again where testing, you don't want to try to test every single combination of the board of all 9 cells times all 3 different values. That would be a lot of combinations to check. What I'm checking here is a board with no cells taken and a board with some cells taken. And presumably, if my function can pass those two tests, it should be able to pass, it should be able to work correctly under any. And similarly, I have this test winning that I've given to you. It's a fairly complicated function, and so I'm giving it to you, the test, and so your job is, given any state of a board, that you can tell me if it's a winner. So these are all the winning states where, some player, P here is just player, it doesn't matter if it's X or O, the first 3, the second 3, the last 3, those are the rows, these are the columns, the first column, the second column, and the third column, and then these are the diagonals, 1 diagonal and 2 diagonals. So you see there are 8 winning states, and so you need to write the function over here, find winner, that when given some board, it can return, and what it's going to return is either the X or the O if one of those is the winner, or it's going to return none to indicate there is no winner. Lots of different ways that you could write that, but that's the way I decided to write this. So here it's going to assert that given a known winning state, that when we run find winner with that test board, it returns the player. Likewise, we should choose, we should test that our function doesn't incorrectly identify winners. So we should give it a bunch of losing boards and determine that find winner will return none. And we look at this function in the unit, unit.py, that's right here. So here, this is a losing board because there's only 2 X's and 2 O's. So no matter how we shuffle this board, that's losing. No one's winning. So I take the random shuffle, I shuffle the losing board into some other configuration, and then I assert that find winner returns none. So again, you could return the empty string. You could return a string that says no winner. However you want to do that. If you want to change your program to return something else, that's fine. Notice here I could have thrown an exception, but then I would have to write code that catches the exception. Is it really an exception that there is no winner, or is it simply just part of the program? I don't particularly like exceptions. I try to avoid using them. It's just my style, but you're welcome to program this however you want, but it does need to pass the tests. So I'm going to code this a lot less with you this time. I'm really giving you, I hope, the things that you need to figure out on your own. This is a more challenging program, especially with the tests that I'm giving you, and so I want you to first figure out how to pass these tests in the unit. Once you can pass the unit tests, then you can start using the integration tests from the outside. But I think you'll find it a lot easier if you first just concentrate on how to print the board, and then, given that state, determine if there is or is not a winner. Because that's what your program needs to do, right? It needs to print the board and then print the winner. So I'm going to leave all this to you, and then in the solution we'll really dig into how we make these things happen.